It's been 3 decades since 62 children at the prestigious Ariel School witnessed something that forever changed their lives. These children reported seeing one or more silver aircraft descend from the sky and land in a field near their school on September 16, 1994. The sight left an indelible mark on them, and some are still haunted by what they saw, with no amount of therapy able to erase the memory. Despite the critics, the children have consistently stood by their accounts, maintaining that they witnessed something extraordinary that day. Ariel School, Rua. Rua is a small, serene town located about 22 kilometers southeast of the capital city, Harare. Known for its landscapes and peaceful ambiance, Rua became the unlikely epicenter of one of the most compelling UFO encounters in history. Ariel School, nestled in the serene town of Rua, Zimbabwe, has a rich history that reflects the educational aspirations of the local community. Established in the early 1990s, Ariel School quickly gained a reputation for academic excellence and holistic development. The school's founding mission was to provide quality education to children in the region, emphasizing both intellectual growth and moral integrity. The school catered to a diverse student body and became known for its inclusive environment, welcoming students, especially those from affluent families. Despite its relative youth compared to other educational institutions, Ariel School's commitment to excellence quickly earned it prestige in the region. It was within this context of academic rigor and community spirit that this extraordinary event took place. The incident. What really happened? On the morning of September 16, 1994, the students of Ariel School in Rua, Zimbabwe, were enjoying their mid-morning break. The weather was clear, and the children, aged between 6 and 12, were playing in the schoolyard, as they did every day during this time. It was around 10:15 a.m. when the extraordinary events began to unfold. The teachers were inside the school building, attending a faculty meeting, leaving the children unsupervised in the playground. Suddenly, the students' attention was drawn to a group of bright, silver objects in the sky. The objects, described as disc-shaped, descended rapidly and landed in a nearby field, approximately 100 meters from the edge of the schoolyard. The children, initially curious, ventured closer to the boundary of the school grounds to get a better look. As they approached, the children reported seeing one or more small beings, about 3 to 4 feet tall, emerge from the craft. These beings were described as having large heads and large black eyes, dressed in tight, shiny suits. The children described a feeling of being watched and communicated with, not through words, but through a form of telepathy. One child, 11-year-old Emily Trim, recalled a being standing by the edge of the schoolyard, staring at her with intense, penetrating eyes. Another child, Salma Siddiq, recounted how the being communicated messages to her about environmental destruction and the future of the Earth. These messages were delivered through a series of mental images and feelings, leaving a lasting impression on the children. As the children stood frozen in awe and fear, some of the beings moved towards them. They described the beings as gliding rather than walking, which added to their otherworldly appearance. Despite the fear, many of the children felt an overwhelming sense of calm and curiosity. When the faculty meeting ended and the teachers came out, they found the children in a state of shock and excitement. The children rushed to tell their teachers what they had witnessed, but their accounts were initially met with skepticism. The teachers, however, were soon convinced of the children's sincerity when they saw the fear and conviction in their eyes. Upon returning home, the children told their parents about the strange events they had witnessed. This led to a flurry of phone calls among parents, teachers, and school officials, trying to piece together what had happened. The children's descriptions of the event were remarkably consistent. They recounted seeing one or more small beings, about 3 to 4 feet tall, with large heads and large black eyes. These beings were dressed in tight, shiny suits and moved in an unusual manner, almost as if they were gliding. The children described a feeling of being watched and communicated with, not through words, but through a form of telepathy. The story quickly spread throughout the local community, capturing the attention of the media and UFO researchers. The following days saw a stream of investigators, journalists, and researchers arriving at Ariel School to interview the children. Among them were BBC Bureau Chief Tim Leach, UFO researcher Cynthia Hind, and Harvard psychiatrist John Mack. These investigators meticulously documented the children's testimonies, noting the remarkable consistency and detail in their accounts. The children's descriptions of the beings were remarkably similar. Large, almond-shaped black eyes, small, slit-like mouths, tiny, almost imperceptible noses, and pale skin. They wore tight-fitting, shiny black suits and moved in a floating or gliding manner. These descriptions, coupled with the children's testimonies, added a layer of credibility to their accounts. The incident did not fade into obscurity, but became a subject of ongoing debate and investigation. The children's lives were profoundly affected, with many expressing that the encounter led them to pursue careers in fields related to environmental conservation and social justice, driven by the messages they received during the sighting. The impact of Tim Leach. Tim Leach, then BBC Bureau Chief for Southern Africa, played a pivotal role in bringing the Ariel School UFO incident to international attention. Known for his keen journalistic instincts and credibility, Leach had a reputation for thorough and unbiased reporting. His involvement lent significant weight to the case, transforming it from a local curiosity to a globally recognized event. Leach arrived at Ariel School shortly after reports of the sighting began to surface. He was one of the first journalists on the scene, driven by his curiosity and the initial wave of reports from the local community. Recognizing the potential significance of the children's accounts, Leach set out to investigate with an open mind. Leach interviewed many of the children who had witnessed the event, as well as teachers and parents. He was struck by the consistency and detail in the children's testimonies, noting that their stories did not waver even under intense questioning. The children described seeing one or more silver aircraft descending from the sky, landing in a field near their school, and small beings with large heads and black eyes emerging from these crafts. Their descriptions of telepathic communication and environmental messages were particularly compelling. Leach's observations were crucial in documenting the initial reactions of the witnesses. He noted that the children were visibly shaken, yet sincere, with no signs of deceit or collusion. His professional assessment was that the children genuinely believed in what they had seen and experienced. In his subsequent reports, Leach presented the story with careful neutrality, avoiding sensationalism while emphasizing the children's conviction. His thorough and respectful coverage ensured that the incident received serious consideration, rather than being dismissed as mere fantasy. The impact of Cynthia Hind. Cynthia Hind, a prominent UFO researcher and author, played an indispensable role in the investigation of the Ariel School UFO incident. Known for her meticulous and methodical approach, her involvement in the Ariel School case was crucial in documenting and analyzing the event. Hind initially approached the Ariel School incident with a degree of skepticism. Her extensive experience in the field of UFO research had taught her the importance of verifying facts and avoiding premature conclusions. However, as she began interviewing the children and collecting their testimonies, her skepticism gave way to intrigue. Hind was particularly impressed by the consistency and detail in the children's accounts, which remained remarkably uniform even when they were interviewed separately. Upon her arrival at Ariel School shortly after the incident, Hind conducted a series of in-depth interviews with the children, teachers, and parents. She meticulously documented their testimonies, taking note of the emotional and psychological state of the witnesses. The children described seeing one or more silver aircraft landing in a field near the school and encountering small beings with large heads and black eyes. They also reported receiving telepathic messages about environmental concerns. Hind's thorough investigation included sketching the beings as described by the children and comparing these drawings with similar accounts from other UFO sightings. She also cross-referenced the children's stories to ensure their consistency. Her detailed documentation provided a solid foundation for further research and analysis. Hind's professional assessment was that the children were sincere and their accounts credible. She noted that the children's testimonies did not waver even under rigorous questioning. Her conclusion was that something extraordinary had indeed occurred at Ariel School, warranting serious consideration and further investigation. In her subsequent reports and publications, Hind presented the Ariel School incident with careful objectivity. She avoided sensationalism, focusing instead on the empirical evidence and the children's unwavering belief in their experiences. Hind's rigorous and balanced approach significantly contributed to the credibility of the Ariel School UFO case, ensuring that it received serious attention from both the public and the scientific community. The impact of John Mack. John E. Mack, a Harvard psychiatrist and Pulitzer Prize-winning author, also played a crucial role in the investigation of the Ariel School UFO incident. Known for his pioneering work in the field of alien abduction experiences, Mack brought a unique blend of scientific rigor and open-mindedness to the case. His involvement not only provided psychological insights, but also lent significant academic credibility to the investigation. When news of the Ariel School incident reached Mack, he was intrigued by the consistency and detail of the children's testimonies. He traveled to Zimbabwe in November 1994, just 2 months after the event, to conduct a thorough investigation. Mack's approach was rooted in his expertise as a psychiatrist, focusing on the psychological and emotional experiences of the witnesses. Mack conducted extensive interviews with the children, teachers, and parents. He employed a gentle and empathetic interviewing technique, allowing the children to express their experiences freely. Mack was struck by the consistency of the children's accounts, which mirrored those of other individuals he had studied who reported encounters with extraterrestrial beings. The children described seeing silver aircraft landing near their school and encountering small beings with large heads and black eyes. They also reported receiving telepathic messages about environmental and planetary concerns. In addition to interviewing the children, Mack also spoke with their teachers and parents to gain a broader understanding of the context in which the event occurred. The teachers corroborated the children's accounts, noting the consistency and conviction in their stories. Parents reported that their children were visibly shaken and disturbed by the experience, further supporting the credibility of their testimonies. Mack's investigation also included a detailed analysis of the psychological and cultural aspects of the incident. He explored the possibility of mass hysteria, but found little evidence to support this theory. The children's accounts were too consistent and detailed to be easily explained by psychological contagion. Mack also considered the cultural context, noting that Zimbabwean folklore did not include imagery similar to what the children described, making it unlikely that their accounts were influenced by local myths or legends. Throughout his investigation, Mack maintained a balanced perspective, acknowledging the extraordinary nature of the claims while also seeking rational explanations. He documented his findings meticulously, producing comprehensive reports that were later published in academic journals. Mack concluded that the Ariel School incident represented a genuine and unexplained phenomenon that warranted further scientific study. Mack's work on the Ariel School UFO case had a profound impact on the field of UFO research. His thorough and empathetic approach provided valuable psychological insights and helped to legitimize the children's experiences in the eyes of the academic community. Mack's investigation highlighted the need for a multidisciplinary approach to studying UFO phenomena, combining psychological, cultural, and empirical analysis. In his subsequent writings and lectures, Mack frequently referenced the Ariel School incident as a compelling example of a credible UFO encounter. His work inspired other researchers to take the phenomenon seriously and to consider the psychological and emotional dimensions of UFO experiences. Well, it's time for our subscribers' pick. While the Ariel School UFO incident on September 16, 1994, is the most well-documented and widely known event, there were indeed reports of unusual sightings in the skies around Rua, Zimbabwe, in the days leading up to that fateful day. In the week prior to the Ariel School event, several residents in the Rua area reported seeing strange lights and unidentified flying objects in the night sky. These sightings were largely undocumented at the time, overshadowed by the dramatic events at the school. However, they have since come to light through retrospective accounts and additional investigations. One notable account came from a young boy who observed unusual lights moving erratically across the sky late at night. He described the lights as bright and pulsating, unlike any conventional aircraft he had seen. His initial reaction was one of curiosity, but he did not report the sighting, thinking it might have been a natural phenomenon or a military exercise. Additionally, a group of people from a neighboring village claimed to have seen a glowing object hovering over a hilltop a few days before the Ariel School incident. They described the object as disc-shaped and emitting a soft humming noise. Their story went largely unnoticed until after the school event brought international attention to the region. These earlier sightings suggest that the events at Ariel School might have been part of a larger pattern of unexplained aerial activity in the area. The lack of immediate attention to these sightings can be attributed to the remoteness of the region and the tendency of locals to dismiss such occurrences as inconsequential or beyond their understanding. In retrospect, these preliminary sightings provide a broader context for the Ariel School incident. They suggest that the schoolchildren's encounter was not an isolated event, but part of a series of unexplained phenomena occurring in the region at that time. This perspective has prompted some researchers to re-examine the timeline and scope of UFO activity in Rua, seeking connections and patterns that could offer further insights into the 1994 incident. Could there be a link between these records of sightings and the UFO event? Share your opinions in the comment section. Psychological disproof. The incident at Ariel School did not fade into obscurity. Instead, it became a subject of ongoing debate and investigation. The children, now adults, continue to recount their experiences with the same conviction. Many have expressed how the encounter profoundly affected their lives, leading them to pursue careers in fields related to environmental conservation and social justice, driven by the messages they received during the sighting. Besides, the Ariel School incident is not the first time students have reported witnessing UFOs. One of the most notable earlier instances occurred on April 6, 1966, in Melbourne, Australia. Approximately 200 students and teachers at Westall High School reported seeing a silver, saucer-shaped object hover over the school's oval before landing in a nearby paddock. This sighting, known as the Westall UFO Encounter, shares similarities with the Rua incident, particularly in the way the students' accounts were consistent and detailed. Despite the compelling nature of the children's testimonies, some psychologists and skeptics have proposed alternative explanations for the Ariel School incident. One of the most prominent theories is the concept of mass hysteria or collective delusion. Mass hysteria, also known as mass psychogenic illness, occurs when a group of people simultaneously exhibit similar physical or emotional symptoms with no identifiable physical cause. This phenomenon is often triggered by stress, fear, or other psychological factors, and can spread rapidly within a cohesive group. Another psychological concept relevant to the discussion is the Mandela effect. The Mandela effect refers to a situation in which a large group of people remember an event differently from how it occurred. Named after Nelson Mandela, who many people incorrectly remembered as having died in prison in the 1980s, the Mandela effect suggests that collective false memories can arise from social and psychological influences. In the case of the Ariel School sighting, some skeptics argue that the children's memories could have been influenced by external factors, leading to a shared but inaccurate recollection of the event. Memory is a complex and malleable cognitive function. Research has shown that memories can be influenced by various factors, including suggestion, peer pressure, and media exposure. Over time, memories can become distorted, and new information can be integrated into the original memory trace, altering the recollection of events. Despite these psychological insights, the children involved in the Ariel School incident have consistently maintained their accounts even after 30 years. The skeptics and inconsistencies. Despite the compelling nature of the Ariel School UFO incident, skeptics have raised various points of contention regarding the children's testimonies. One of the primary criticisms revolves around inconsistencies in the details provided by the witnesses. While the majority of the children described the UFOs as silver or metallic, some mentioned colors like red, gray, or black. Skeptics argue that these variations suggest possible embellishments or inaccuracies influenced by factors such as imagination, suggestion, or media portrayals of UFOs. Additionally, critics have questioned the reliability of eyewitness testimonies, highlighting the fallibility of human memory, especially over extended periods. They suggest that the passage of time and external influences could have altered the children's recollections, leading to inconsistencies in their stories. Skeptics also point to the possibility of the children's imaginations being influenced by popular culture. The early 1990s saw a resurgence of interest in UFOs and extraterrestrial life, partly due to movies and television shows like The X-Files. It's plausible that the children's exposure to such media could have shaped their perceptions and recollections of the event. In addition, years after the Ariel School UFO incident, Dylan, one former student, came forward, claiming the event was a prank to skip class. His assertion stands in stark contrast to the consistent and detailed testimonies of numerous witnesses. This individual's solitary retraction years later sparked debate among skeptics and believers alike, highlighting the challenge of reconciling his account with the overwhelming majority who maintain the authenticity of their experiences. While skeptics provide valuable perspectives that encourage critical thinking and scrutiny, proponents of the Ariel School incident point to the overall consistency and sincerity of the children's core narratives. They argue that despite minor variations in details, the fundamental aspects of the event remain remarkably uniform across multiple witnesses, reinforcing the credibility of their accounts. The role of global news and its fading memory. When the incident first occurred, it garnered significant global media attention. News outlets around the world reported on the event, highlighting the children's consistent and detailed testimonies. This global coverage helped to legitimize the children's accounts to a broader audience and sparked widespread interest in the Rua UFO encounter. However, as with many news stories, the public's attention eventually shifted to other events, and the Rua incident gradually faded from the headlines. Despite the initial media frenzy, interest in the Ariel School encounter waned over the years. The story remained a topic of discussion among UFO enthusiasts and researchers, but it did not maintain the same level of public attention as it had immediately following the incident. The children's lives moved on, and the incident became a distant memory for many, though it continued to haunt those who experienced it firsthand. Randall Nickerson and the revival of the story. The Rua encounter might have remained a largely forgotten event if not for the efforts of filmmaker Randall Nickerson. Decades after the incident, Nickerson took an interest in the story and decided to explore it further. His curiosity led him to contact and interview the children, now adults, who had witnessed the UFOs. Nickerson's dedication to uncovering the truth and documenting the testimonies resulted in a resurgence of interest in the Ariel School encounter. Nickerson's documentary, Ariel Phenomenon, involved interviewing many of the original 62 witnesses, who were now in their 30s and 40s. He meticulously gathered their accounts, aiming to preserve the integrity of their original testimonies, while also exploring how the incident had impacted their lives. The documentary delves into the psychological and emotional aftermath of the sighting, providing a comprehensive look at the long-term effects on the witnesses. Randall Nickerson's documentary brought a fresh perspective to the Rua UFO incident. By revisiting the original witnesses and capturing their stories on film, Nickerson provided a platform for them to share their experiences with a new generation. The documentary not only reignited public interest, but also added a layer of credibility to the children's accounts by showing how their stories had remained consistent over the years. Nickerson interviewed over 30 of the original witnesses, meticulously cross-referencing their accounts with the documentation provided by Cynthia Hind and John Mack. The documentary also includes interviews with teachers and parents who were present at the time, providing additional context and corroboration. Through these interviews, Nickerson was able to piece together a comprehensive narrative that highlighted both the consistencies and inconsistencies in the children's stories. One of the most intriguing aspects of Nickerson's documentary is its exploration of the inconsistencies in the children's accounts. By addressing these discrepancies head-on, Nickerson allows viewers to understand the complexity of human memory and perception. He shows how minor variations in the children's descriptions of the UFO's colors and shapes could be attributed to individual differences in perception and recall. Nickerson also addresses the skeptics' arguments, providing a balanced view of the incident. He includes interviews with psychologists and experts who discuss the possibility of mass hysteria and false memories. However, these experts also acknowledge the difficulty of dismissing the children's consistent core narratives, particularly given the emotional and psychological impact the event had on them. The release of Ariel Phenomenon had a significant impact on public perception of the Rua UFO encounter. It brought renewed attention to the incident and sparked discussions about the nature of UFO sightings and the reliability of eyewitness testimonies. The documentary also highlighted the importance of revisiting historical events with a critical but open-minded approach. Nickerson's work has been praised for its thoroughness and sensitivity. By giving a voice to the original witnesses and allowing them to share their stories in their own words, he has helped to preserve an important piece of UFO history. The documentary has also inspired further research and investigation into the Rua incident, with new theories and explanations continuing to emerge. The aftermaths of the event. The Ariel School UFO incident has left a lasting impact on modern culture, profoundly affecting the lives of those who witnessed it. For the children involved, the encounter became a defining moment, shaping their perspectives and often guiding their future paths. Many of them reported a heightened awareness of environmental and social issues, inspired by the telepathic messages they believed they received from the beings. The incident also brought a sense of unity among the witnesses, who found solace in their shared experience amidst skepticism from the broader community. The families of these children were likewise impacted, grappling with the challenge of supporting their children while facing public scrutiny. Some families reported changes in their children's behavior and interests, noticing a newfound seriousness and curiosity about the unknown. This shared family ordeal brought some families closer together as they navigated the aftermath of such an extraordinary event. Ariel School itself gained international attention, forever linking its name to the UFO phenomenon. The school became a focal point for researchers and media, thrusting it into the global spotlight. This attention brought both challenges and opportunities, as the school had to manage its newfound fame while continuing to provide a stable educational environment. The Ariel School incident continues to resonate in modern culture, fueling discussions about the nature of UFO encounters and their psychological and social impacts. It has inspired documentaries, books, and ongoing debates within the UFO research community. The story of Ariel School serves as a compelling reminder of how extraordinary experiences can ripple through the lives of individuals and communities, leaving an indelible mark on our collective consciousness. The Ariel School encounter remains one of the most compelling and intriguing UFO sightings in history. While skeptics point to inconsistencies in the children's accounts and propose psychological explanations such as mass hysteria and false memories, the unwavering testimonies of the witnesses and the comprehensive investigation by figures like Cynthia Hind, John Mack, and Randall Nickerson lend significant credibility to the event. The story of the Ariel School children challenges us to consider the complexities of human perception and memory, as well as the mysteries that lie beyond our current understanding. Whether you believe in extraterrestrial life or not, the Rua UFO incident is a fascinating case study that continues to captivate and intrigue. And that's all for today. Thanks for watching.